Here's something that blows my mind. Many scientists and political thinkers completely ignore violence and warfare in human behavior. I'm going to give you an example of somebody who does this. Peter Singer, he wrote this book in 1999 called The Darwinian Left. He basically makes the case that the failure of Marxism is due to the fact that it didn't adopt Darwinism wholesale and that it believed in the perfectibility of mankind. He's trying to lay out a case that there are some aspects of human nature that are sort of not up for discussion. Now, he categorizes behaviors into three categories. First one is great variation. That includes food production, economics. Second category is sexual relationships, meaning, even though marriage relationships will be very different across societies, the incest prohibition is going to be pretty much constant. And also ethnic identification. Some groups are more racist and xenophobic than others. Okay, all that's fine. Third category is one of little variation, and this is one where all human societies are essentially the same, such as the fact that everybody has hierarchies, sex roles have very little variation, and that's it. He does not mention violence. There's no mention of violence or warfare. In my view, violence and warfare, it's not necessarily that the act of warfare is a constant, but the threat of violence and warfare is a constant across all societies, no matter how big or small. So Roman Empire, all the way down to Mycenaean Greek, all the way down to Neolithic Europe, all the way down to Australian Aborigines, everybody has a concern for violence. And that's not in here. Why do we ignore this? And it's really to our peril that we don't acknowledge the fact that this is a constant across all human societies. It doesn't mean that there's always warfare. It doesn't mean that there's always peace. And it doesn't mean that there's always the same answer to these things. But it does mean that it's a constant. And by ignoring this, we're ignoring the fact that human society is fundamentally different than animal society. And this is a case that Singer is trying to dispute. He's trying to say that humans are just another form of animal. And the only way that that can be true is if he ignores violence, because human violence is fundamentally different from animal combat, because we use objects in combat, and the object of combat is a wild card, whereas animals know exactly what the object of combat is going to be, because it's going to be the same as the one that they have. So this is simply error by omission. It's totally standard within the sciences now, and it's why we are failing to understand violence in the social sciences now.